"There's a gift for you on the counter," I said, my voice dangerously calm. She walked in smiling, then her face fell. "What is this?" "It's from Mark," I replied, watching the color drain from her face. "He knows your favorite perfume." "How nice of him." The silence was deafening. "So, I need a sanity check here because I feel like I'm either being paranoid or incredibly stupid." It all started a few months back. After what felt like an eternity of working from home, my wife's company decided it was time for everyone to pile back into the office. For most people, this was just an annoyance. For my wife, it was a genuine problem. She grew up in the city, taking subways everywhere, and never really got comfortable behind the wheel. The thought of a 40-minute commute each way, dealing with highway traffic, visibly stressed her out. A few days after the announcement, she came home with what she called the perfect solution. Her coworker, a guy named Mark, had offered to carpool. She was beaming when she told me, relieved that she wouldn't have to do the drive herself. My first reaction was, "Oh, great. Where does he live?" She told me his town, and my internal GPS immediately flagged a problem. "Babe," I said, trying to keep my tone neutral, "that's a good 15 minutes out of the way for him." "Are you sure?" My brain was already doing the math. 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back. That's half an hour of his own time every single day, for free. An alarm bell started ringing in the back of my head. Nobody is that nice for no reason. She just laughed it off. "Oh, stop it," she said, playfully swatting my arm. "He's just a super nice guy. He said he doesn't mind at all. He just listens to podcasts. Plus," she added, as if this was the checkmate argument, "he's married." I wanted to say, "What does that have to do with anything?" But I held my tongue. This was the dilemma. I could either voice my gut feeling and come across as the insecure, controlling husband, or I could just nod and accept this perfect solution that felt all wrong. I had no evidence, just a vague sense of unease. Arguing about a potential problem that hadn't happened yet seemed like a guaranteed way to start a fight. So, I caved. "Okay," I said. "Yeah, that's great." And to be fair, for the first couple of months, it was completely fine. She got to and from work without the stress of driving, she seemed happier, and their timing was like clockwork. He'd drop her off at 5:15 p.m. on the dot, every single day. I started to think I had overreacted, that maybe he really was just a decent guy helping out a colleague. I let my guard down and almost forgot about my initial suspicion. Looking back now, I was an idiot to get so comfortable. I guess I just don't know if I'm seeing things that aren't there. Was I wrong to be suspicious from the start? That feeling of comfort lasted for about 3 months. Then, slowly, the routine started to fray at the edges. The 5:15 p.m. drop-off became 5:45 p.m. I'd be in the kitchen starting dinner, glance at the clock, and feel a small knot tighten in my stomach. The first time it happened, she walked in apologizing profusely. Traffic was a nightmare, you wouldn't believe it. The second time, it was a last-minute meeting that ran over. I accepted the excuses because, what else could I do? This is what a normal, trusting husband does. But then a bit later started turning into a few hours. A couple of weeks ago, it was 7:30 p.m. when I saw his headlights pull up. She came in, looking a little flushed, and told me they'd stayed late to power through a big project deadline. I remember thinking, he waited over 2 hours for you. When she worked from home, she logged off at 5 p.m. on the dot. This newfound dedication to late nights at the office felt convenient. The real gut punch came at her company holiday party last weekend. It was at some swanky downtown hotel bar, loud music, open bar, the usual corporate affair. I saw her talking to Mark by the bar. From across the room, I watched them. It wasn't like he was all over her. There was no grand, inappropriate gesture I could point to. It was quieter than that. It was in the way he'd lean in to talk, his hand just briefly resting on the small of her back to guide her through a small crowd. It was there for a second, then gone. She didn't react, didn't pull away. It was normal for them. They were laughing at something on his phone, their heads so close together that her hair brushed his shoulder. That's when I realized the problem. They had an effortless intimacy, the kind you build over hours and hours of private conversation in a car. They have their own world of inside jokes and shared frustrations from the office that I'm not a part of. I'm not a jealous guy by nature, but my wife is a beautiful woman. I've seen how men look at her. I know what that temptation looks like, and I saw a flicker of it in him. He wasn't just being nice. He was enjoying her company, maybe a little too much. So now I'm stuck in this hellish middle ground. I have a collection of these little moments, the late nights, the casual touches, the easy laughter. Individually, they're all perfectly explainable. If I confront her, she can shoot down every single point. It was a work meeting. He was just helping me through a crowd. You're being paranoid. She would be right, and she would be wrong, all at the same time. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Am I supposed to just sit here and wait for something more concrete to happen? How do you even begin to address a problem that you can't definitively prove exists? Tonight, it happened again. It was almost 8 p.m. when I saw the familiar sweep of his headlights across our living room window. I didn't get up from the couch. I just listened to the sounds, the car door shutting, the crunch of her footsteps on the gravel driveway, the key turning in the lock. She came in with a tired smile and a quick apology about a server crash at work. I just nodded. I didn't have the energy to question it. About an hour later, she was upstairs getting ready for bed. I was cleaning up the kitchen when I realized she'd left her insulated water bottle in the car, the one she takes everywhere. Figuring it would get gross if it sat there all night, I grabbed her keys and went out into the cold night air. The car's interior was still faintly warm. I leaned into the passenger side, my phone's flashlight cutting through the darkness. The water bottle was right there in the cup holder. As I grabbed it, the light from my phone glinted off something tucked deep into the side pocket of the passenger door, his door. Curiosity got the better of me. I reached in and my fingers closed around a small, cube-shaped box. It was elegantly wrapped in dark blue paper with a silver ribbon. It felt heavy, for its size. My heart started hammering against my ribs. My hand was shaking as I pulled it out. On the simple white tag, tied to the ribbon, was a single, stylized letter M. I knew before I even opened it, but I had to be sure. I carefully slid the ribbon off and peeled back the paper. Inside was a bottle of Chanel perfume. It was the exact one she'd pointed out at a department store months ago, wistfully saying how much she loved the scent but could never justify buying it for herself. My mind went completely blank for a second, just pure static. A work meeting doesn't end with a $150 gift. A friendly carpool ride doesn't involve a present this personal, this intimate. A gift card for coffee is a coworker thing. A bottle of wine for the holidays is a coworker thing. This was something else entirely. This was a gift meant to say, I know you. I've been listening. I desire you. All those little pieces, the late nights, the lingering touches, the private jokes, they all snapped into place. This box was the proof. I walked back inside, my legs feeling unsteady. I didn't put the box back. I didn't hide it. I walked into our quiet, dark kitchen and placed it directly in the center of the island, right under the main light. Then I turned the light on, making the bottle and the discarded wrapping paper the only things illuminated in the room. She's still upstairs. I can hear the shower running. She has no idea what's waiting for her down here. I'm sitting at the kitchen table in the dark, just staring at it. My whole body feels like a live wire. The time for doubt is over. So, Reddit, here's my question. She's going to come downstairs any minute now. How do I start this? What are the very first words that should come out of my mouth? Everything feels like a landmine. I feel like the first sentence I say is going to determine the rest of my life. What do I do?